What is cropping up, stockers? Zach, the stock cropper, coming to you on July, what is it today, the 9th, I think, on an absolutely gorgeous morning here outside of beautiful Buffalo Center, Iowa. We are officially stock cropping. We've been in the field for a week. It's been a few weeks since I've made a video. A lot of stuff has changed and growing and doing well. Gonna get you all up to speed. So our morning move is on here. You can see the barn advances. For those of you that haven't seen this before from last year, this is our ClusterCluck Nano with ruminants out front. And the barn is advancing at a rate of about 30 inches a minute. So the pen is 8 foot deep, and the open tooth design on the bottom of the fence allows the 3 foot tall pasture mix to pass in bent over, and there they are like clockwork. The sheep are out, the lambs I should say are out to get their morning breakfast. In the back, we converted the barn this week, if this will focus, to putting some laying hens in this year, and they love the moves too, because they're looking for bugs and all the new goodies that the sheep left behind, like some of the oats. They'll go after them, and yeah. So you can see it takes about 2.5 minutes to make a move. We're getting up here close. We're moving this barn 3 times a day for a total lane movement of 24 feet down this cool pasture lane mix. So like I stated, we had a chicken or broiler massacre, so we switched gears and took my laying hens from my house and put them in the back of the ClusterCluck Nano. So we have, I think, 11 or 12 of these laying hens that we got from Hoover's Hatchery. I think in February or January we got these things. And we added some roosting bars in here, as well as an additional sheet of steel that we added to the design to give more shade. Roosting bars over here, and then we've got 2 nesting boxes, our waters up front, and the feeder over there. But you can see them going after some oats that were left over. Look at that, just like clockwork. So that's the beauty of this system, is that what one animal passes on, the others make use of, and they're leaving this trail of vegetation to get pissed off. We've got the crap here, stomp it down, strip it clean, and this stuff will start to regrow and be ready to graze probably in another, especially this stuff here, this will probably be ready in another 3 or 4 weeks, I would guess. And keep in mind, the ClusterCluck Nano is powered by the sun, so we've got onboard batteries here that when the sun's out, we're charging power and making it so that we can move as frequently as we want. We have excess power. I would say we could probably move this thing 10 times a day without any issue. Probably even more than that, to be honest with you. The battery capacity that we have for moving this thing is more than adequate, and we could definitely scale this down. But it feels good to be back out here. We're doing what we do. Got the choring wagon out here. A lot of people wonder how we chore. I'll show that real quick. So we've got our trusty Suzuki mini truck. Got a tote on the back here with a pump for water. We hook that up to the barns direct so that we can pump water in. We carry out feed in buckets and bags. And then we drive stick shift left-handed, which is a special talent on its own. So now we are walking up to the back of old trusty, the ClusterCluck 5000. This barn is on its 4th year of use, and you can see our piggies. We got these a week ago from Tommy Thompson, just west of Thompson, Iowa. If you're looking for high quality Duroc and spot cross pigs, feeder pigs. These are just some absolute dandies that Tommy has hooked us up with, and we're glad to have them. But these things look awesome. And we've got 5 lambs out in front here that grazed this down pretty good. It's time to move. We've got our 560 tractor out. We do not have our winch hooked up yet. Our solar charge controller took a crap. We've got our solar panels on top and our battery pack up here, but I've got to get a new solar charge controller. And when we do, we're going to run a cable the entire length so that we don't have to have a tractor out in front here. And we will get this hooked up and we'll be able to use our autonomous winch, where the winch will just be on a timer with a computer on board, solar powered, moves itself ahead 8 feet. And the lambs can have fresh lunch, and I don't have to come out here in the dew and start the tractor. That's the whole point, is to get this thing where it works on its own. But we are, while we look pretty good here, we're right on the cusp for moisture here in north central Iowa, and we have grasshoppers. I don't know if you can see them jumping, but they are terrible. And they are eating the living snot, just like last year, out of our pasture here, which is incredibly frustrating because we're losing quite a bit of leaf area of this forage rape, which is one of their favorite things. So we'll see how this goes. But grasshoppers, yeah, it's hard to believe this is the 4th year that we have had an absolute drought. We're definitely luckier than last year. Last year at this time we had about 7 inches of rain for the year. This year we're at 13, so it's definitely better. We've definitely not had as many stress days on the crop, but we are still right on the margin of the soil is dry, and we really need to get lucky and catch another rain. We haven't had one in a couple weeks here, and it's time for some more. But the pigs are enjoying the move. They're out here chomping. They like to finish off the forage rape stalks. And my favorite part is just watching the ruminants go. I love the salad. Beautiful. So this is a video of what our summer lane pasture looks like. So I call it the summer lane because we plant a warm season mix. This is an 8-way mix of a whole bunch of different warm season species of both grasses and broadleafs. And I'll maybe flash the mix up. We got it from Albert Lee Seed House. Has kind of a warm season forage cover crop mix. It's the same mix that we used in all of our gap corn as well. So a lot of diversity out here for sure. But this is coming along. We got a rain right after we seeded this, so we got a good catch, but it's going to need rain to keep going. But this should be ready to graze. You know, the barn is right here. We're roughly about 30 days from turning into this and then grazing this back. So this needs to be grazable and ready in about a month. One of the big changes from last year to this year is we've had more moisture, and our outside row has not been stressed as much this year already as what it was last year. And so you can see that this outside row of corn, you can see the increased density that it's planted at. Again, we drop about 46 to 48,000, I think, but you can see these leaves reaching and expressing out to take advantage of all that extra light. And we just don't have anything that looks like it's really suffering here at all. And you can see the phi shape of the canopy as well, where the plants in the middle that develop that arc, that phi arc that Jason Mock talks about all the time. That is definitely here and expressing itself in this intercrop alignment. So I had to get on top of the mini truck here just to get tall enough to show you. For those that have been to our field days before, you recognize up there by the barn is where we usually gather. And then out in front here, I showed in the last video, we've got our various gap corn experiments where you're going to be able to come to our field day on August 26th and walk through all of these different row arrangements. So we've started off with 72-inch twins over here, 4 rows of them, or 4 sets of twins. Then we've got 60-inch, I think right here, and then we go to 90-inch twins over here. And I'll pop some video of us up seeding, but because I didn't make a video in between, but we seeded these mixes on I think the 23rd of June, and then we caught a rain right after, and we've got a hell of a good stand that came through underneath here. You can see this stuff, and this is really going to be huge by the time we have the field day. But this is going to be cool because you're going to have an opportunity to walk and come and look at all these different schematics. You get to see how the canopy behaves side to side, what allows the most light down to make something meaningful happen in between these rows. You can see the big difference between when you go from 90s down to 60s. The fact that these are pretty much, the leaves are already touching in the 60-inch arrangement. And then we come over to the 72s, and even with the 72-inch twin, we're about shading the row. We're within probably 8 inches of these leaves touching in between the canopy here. And then we've got all this goodness coming up. So my expectation is that we're going to have an arc of growth where the light is available. You can see these plants are already stretching to try to get to it, where you're going to have less growth in the shade right next to the crop, which is what we want, because next year the idea is to take these, slide them over, and plant them right into this bosom of diversity that will hopefully fix nitrogen and charge the soil biome right underneath this zone. And then over here on this side of the plot, we have just that same summer pasture mix that we drilled in with our little tie drill. And this is going to be a demonstration plot for our field day. Again, August 26th. I'm going to keep shamelessly plugging that for people to get on their calendars. It'll be a Saturday morning. But this is where we are going to have the progression of all 3 red barns lined up and marching across this. At that field day, we'll have the ClusterCluck Max 9, the big red barn, and I am going to find some cattle to bring in for just the field day to have and marching across here. We'll have the auto steer redesign of the ClusterCluck Nano, which was here last year, that made its debut, but we'll have an updated and improved auto steer system on that to show folks. And then last but not least, if all goes according to plan, we will have the ClusterCluck Pico, the backyard version for poultry alone, and we will have all 3 of these lined up working across this mix of summer pasture, which should look pretty damn cool. So what else is happening? We've got a lot of things going on right now. So tomorrow morning, Jason Webster from Precision Planting is going to be picking up the ClusterCluck Nano to take it to the PTI farm down in Pontiac, Illinois. And so if you're going to Precision Planting's PTI farm for anything this summer, know that ClusterCluck Nano will be there. They've got a strip intercropping plot set up, and they're going to be parading that barn, if all goes well, through the transport process to get it down there. And they're going to have, I think, sheep and chickens working in that barn. So if you're heading to Pontiac for a PTI tour, make sure that that you check that out down there. The other thing we've got cooking is in a couple weeks. I actually got the opportunity to illustrate and show one of the ClusterCluck barns on a TV show called Coop Dreams, which is going to be on RFD TV this fall. And we're going to go shoot a segment for a half day out in eastern Illinois, take one of the nanos out there as well to show them how it works and get a lot more visibility for what we're doing. So that's a Sunday morning tour, what we've been up to. This video has been brought to you by Kent Feeds. Kent Feeds, just feed it. Wanted to finish up with a plug for our field day, August 26th. It's going to be a Saturday morning. We put it on Saturday mornings for a reason. A lot of people that farm on the side, have full-time gigs, makes it hard to get to field days during the middle of the week. We put it on the weekend for a reason. It's going to be co-sponsored with PFI, Practical Farmers of Iowa. We're going to have a bunch of cool people here. I've already had a lot of folks reaching out asking when, so I wanted to make sure to keep putting in the videos so that people know to save August 26th, Saturday morning. Should be just kind of at the end of wedding season, but before all the school stuff kicks off. And we hope to see you at 10 a.m. beautiful Buffalo Center, Iowa. A lot more details, speakers, things of that nature to be announced, but we're gonna have a lot of good stuff happening on that Saturday. So get it on your calendar. I hope everybody gets some rain here through the month of July and August. Keep crops going, and thanks for watching.